Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Samantha Winona. This is Winona Reads. Okay, so for today's video, it is Friday, February 3rd. I don't have much time. I have a hair appointment today. As you can probably tell, I need it. This is just, I don't even know. It's a mess. But I wanted to quickly film since I have all of this loveliness already done for the day. I wanted to hop on and do a quick book haul, as quick as I can make it, because there are 32 books that I have gotten from November to today, February 3rd, and I wanted to haul them before I forget and before I get more. So without further ado, let's go. I also have my notes here because I wanted to do like quick synopsis. I didn't want to like do too much on each of them, and I didn't want to like ramble. I wanted to be very pinpoint, so that's what I'll be looking at are the notes. But the first one up is Theater for Dreamers by Polly Samson. So it is based on a Greek island. It is about utopian dreams, innocence lost, and it says something about a love triangle. It was noted cultural, political, and sexual and artistic story. So I haven't seen it around too much as far as people reading it, but I've seen it on a lot of like TBRs, so I am interested in that. I feel like that's more of a summer read though, considering gorgeous cover. I'm gonna move this over and try to, I really don't think that this is gonna change anything, but we're gonna change. Okay, so whatever. I'm working with what I got here. I'm trying to make these closer so I don't constantly look like I'm looking over, but I am, so sorry. The next one I picked up is Notes on a Silencing by Lacey Crawford. This is a memoir in regards to a case opening up about campus sexual abuse, and it is kind of reliving her memories through that. It discusses, you know, gender, privilege, the different roles that victims face as far as shame and guilt, and how victims are treated after. I think the case was open about 15 years after it actually happened to her. So something like that I think is for some reason triggering to society as far as like why speak now, that whole thing. So I am interested to see, you know, her take on it. I did recently, not recently, but within the last year, I read Chanel Miller's Know My Name, which was also a sexual abuse on campus case. And I did love her writing style and her voice, so I'm curious to see how that one plays out. The next one I picked up is Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi. It is a 2020 Booker Prize. It was shortlisted. This one is a love story as well as betrayal story between a mother and daughter. That is something that really interests me since becoming a mother. I don't know. I'm just interpreting based off of like the reviews, but I'm assuming the way it says betrayal, maybe it might be a little bit harsh to some, but it just says it is about, you know, the dynamic in the relationship and how someone's truth may not be the same truth to somebody else, if that makes sense, like in the relationship. So I am interested. A lot of people have been talking about it and posting about it, so I really want to get to that. Summer Crossing by Truman Capote is after that. I picked this one up on Book Outlet, and I actually have already read this. I do love his writing. This one was about World War II era, a socialite named Grady. Her family goes on vacation, so she stays in New York City, and it's about her relationship with a man and sort of herself and finding herself. It's not really coming of age, it's more of just like, I said it in my recap, but like his writing is very ambiguous, and so the ending kind of just left off at like a weird point, but I still think it's worth the read, and honestly the cover is just adorable. And the next one I picked up is also from Book Outlet. It is The Rum Diary by Hunter S. Thompson. This one says, a tangled love story of jealousy, treachery, of violent alcoholic lust in San Juan, Puerto Rico in the 1950s. And my God, if that doesn't sound good. It actually makes me want to pick it up now. He also wrote what is it, Fear and Loathing, and yeah, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which I loved that movie, but I've also never read that book, so I wonder if that's also on Book Outlet, because I'd be interested to read that. And the next one is another 2021 Booker Prize shortlisted. It is The Promise by Damon Galgut. And this is a epic South African drama. It is a woman on her deathbed promises or makes a promise to the nanny of the family or the maid of the family to, actually I don't know the promise, I take that back. I don't know the promise, but she makes a promise which in return affects her children. And so there's a dynamic of, you know, the generations after that, the, I'm assuming, tension of whatever this promise is. It does say that the promise was unmet, so I just think it's about, you know, the dynamic between the siblings and I'm assuming the maid in regards to this promise. So it does sound interesting, and I've heard a lot of praise about the writing style, not just the storytelling, so I am very interested to get to that drama. The one after that is Real Life by Brandon Taylor. This one is a debut. It's a coming-of-age novel. It is discussing intimacy violence and mercy among friends. I have read a couple of reviews that have been a little bit polarizing, whether, you know, it's a very good coming-of-age story or something was lacking. I don't go into too much, like, as far as reading reviews. I just kind of look at, like, the stars or, you know, what it's rated. Look at the stars. Asks if it's really possible to overcome private wounds and at what cost. And so I think that may be something that can be triggering to some people, but also I'm interested to see how the story develops and why, like, what he is questioning. I do know the main character is gay, and so it does explore sexuality a lot. But yeah, I'm interested. I haven't read anything like that, so I'm interested to see. And I know he also had a different book come out, I want to say this year or within the last year. So if I like his writing, I'll get his other one too. The next one I picked up is from Book Outlet, A Double Life by Flynn Barry. So I'm going to read the whole back of this because it sounds so interesting, and I like couldn't even put it into like one quick sentence. Nearly 30 years ago, while Claire and her brother slept upstairs, a brutal crime was committed in their Grand London home. The next morning, her father's car was found abandoned with bloodstains on the front seat, the first lord accused of murder in more than a century. He has been missing ever since, now a doctor living under an assumed name. Claire learns the police may have found him. She starts to infiltrate his privileged inner circle, who have never broken their silence about what happened that night. Soon she'll see how far she goes to find the truth. Right? Right? That's a good one. The next one is A Place Bewitched and Other Stories by Nikolai Gogol. I kind of want to plan a month to do like Russian literature because I have so many Russian writers on my shelves and I haven't read any of them. Like I feel like I need to. This is a collection of short stories, and he is known for sort of writing twisted, like a twisted sense of, I don't think a twisted sense of reality, but like the way he observes things comes across very unique. And so it's just, it says a strange comic voice. I feel like short stories might be the way to go to like ease into Russian literature, but I'm proud of myself for picking that one up at a Book Outlet. Okay, back quick. I still have way too many to go through and not enough time, but here we are. The next one is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. And this one is from the same writer as The Kite Runner. I also have that on my shelves. I got this one at the used book sale at my library, as well as the other one. So I kind of want to do like a back-to-back. Read the first one and then read this one. This one is also like a generational story about living in Afghanistan, I believe. Yes, Afghanistan. It, you know, dives into post-Taliban rebuilding. It dives into how to raise a family during this time with a lot of conflict. So this is definitely something I do want to pick up. Okay, so 3 decades of Afghan history focuses on family and friendship struggle to survive, raise family, and find happiness while societal wars and struggles still exist. So many people talk about The Kite Runner, and I don't know if this actually, like, I don't think it's like an addendum. I don't think it picks up where that leaves off. So many people talk about his writing, and I would love to experience it. I don't think I ever read it in high school. So the next one I will do is Gleanings by Neal Shusterman. This is Stories from the Arc of a Scythe. I did start this and I just didn't get that far into it. I'm well 63 pages in. So this is literally just short stories, kind of more information on the Scythe series. I don't know why. I think maybe because it's like a short story kind of aspect, like it didn't, not that it didn't go anywhere, but like it wasn't following, I don't know how to explain it. It's more background to the stories that I've already read, but not in the sense of like a continuation of a story. So I don't know. I don't feel, not that I'm not interested, but I feel like this would have been super helpful if it was like a point, like 2.5 or something. Like if I had this in the middle and not way after the third one. Like I loved the series, I loved the trilogy, but this just feels like it came too far after. I don't know. I also haven't finished it, so I could be completely wrong. I don't know, but I need to pick it up and finish it. It's just not something that was catching my attention the way that the trilogy did, and I think that's my issue with it, honestly. The next one is When We Left Cuba, a novel by Chanel Cleeton. She has a lot of these kind of books. I know that one of the book clubs that I follow, Read in Color, did Next Year in Havana, and I did mean to read that one. I never ended up getting to it, but I still have the audiobook. This one already has her dog-eared pages. This one I got at the library used book sale, and as you can see, it's basically brand new, which is why I love going. This is a story about a sugar heiress who the CIA asks her to infiltrate Fidel Castro's inner circle and get information for them. It says that she ends up in forbidden passions, she has family secrets, it's about courage and sacrifice, and what it takes to take back her country. So this sounds interesting. I haven't, like I said, I haven't read any of her writing, but I do love some good historical fiction, so I am excited for that one. And hopefully I'll get like a kickstart, because I do have some of her other books on my shelves that I haven't gotten to. So once again, let's get these, you know, wheels turning here. The next one I got is, how many pages? Oh my gosh, I would have said 900. It's only 700, still only. Keepers of the Lost Cities, number 9, Stellar Loon by Shannon Messenger. And this is just the continuation of the series. I believe this is the final book in the series. I binged Keeper of the Lost Cities when I first got it. And it is about a girl named Sophie who she didn't realize about her powers. When she comes to find out, she like is involved in this whole other world. And then people start kind of attacking the institution. A lot of stuff is changing. There are dynamics of, you know, teenage issues like love and friendships while all of this stuff is going on. And it does say perfect for fans of Harry Potter. I do agree. I think it is a very strong female protagonist. So it is in a sense of, you know, the chosen one and like helping, but she does rely on her friends a lot. Overall, I honestly love the series. I'm not sure why anyone would dislike it. But it is a soft spot for me, so I do want to get into that. However, I did try to start it and I forgot so much from the last book that I feel like I need to at least read the last book, or maybe look up like notes on how the last one ended, because I started reading it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot what happened. That's so bad, but I don't know. Then again, there's 9 books in the series, so I feel like give me some credit, you know? The next one I picked up was Empty Mansions by Bill Dedman and Paul Clark Newell Jr. This was another used book sale. It's something about a secret heiress. It is like part mystery, part social history. I remember seeing that. It was something about an heiress has homes in different, I think it was like California, New York City, and somewhere else. And then it says, why had she lived for 20 years in a simple hospital room despite being in excellent health? So it does seem like a twisted family story, a little bit of mystery involved. There were pictures. I kind of just flipped through it fast and thought like it just sounded so interesting, and I do love like old architecture like that. And then the caption on the front says, an outsized tale of rags to riches prosperity. So it is kind of dense though, so it probably won't be like a quick picker upper, you know what I mean? The next one is Disappearing Earth by Julia Phillips. This one is about two girls, two sisters, who disappear in Russia. It goes into their story and then dives into the people that are connected. There are more women that are connected, like witnesses and that sort of thing. And then it takes a look on the landscape as well. Volcanoes, dense forests, glassy seas that border Japan and Alaska, social and ethnic tensions. That one has been highly talked about, and it is the winner, or no, a finalist of the National Book Award, so you know that one's good. The next one is Commonwealth by Ann Patchett. I have read one of her other books before. I didn't love it, but I did want to give her another try because this one is another used book and it actually is very well loved. So to me, it kind of seemed like maybe someone had passed it down a couple of times and it's worth it. But this is spanning 5 decades. It explores family ties between parents and children. It goes into, you know, affection for each other. There are discussions of betrayals, of guilt, of loss, disillusionment, bonds, affairs, and it says a brilliant and tender tale of far-reaching ties of love and responsibility that bind us together. The next one is White Ivy by Susie Yang, book club with Jenna Pick. And this one, which one will she choose? A coming-of-age story, a love triangle, an exploration of class, race, and identity. It's a page-turner that appeals to fans. But it also says she is a thief and a liar, but you never know by looking at her. So it does have a little bit to do with immigration, but also finding wealth and how that might change your behaviors, I assume. So that one sounds good. The next one is The Angel of Rome and Other Stories by Jess Walter. I don't know too much about this, and honestly, this was a cover buy for me from Book Outlet. But when I went to look at what it was about and read the book flaps, I honestly feel like he wrote this about himself. Just like praising like his style writing, but I'm sorry, tell me if I'm just reading too much into this, but with his signature wit and clarity of vision and empathetic approach to the darkest parts of humanity, Walter tackles the modern condition with a timeless touch, once again solidifying his place in the contemporary canon as one of our most gifted builders of fictional worlds. I think it just sounds a little pretentious, although half of it was a quote from Esquire, but still, like, I don't know. So that doesn't make me want to get to it right away, but it's kind of mean. A little bit. The next one is A Very Nice Girl by Imogene Crimp. And this has a dry sense of humor. It is a little bit dark and twisted. It is a debut about ambition, sex, power, love. It opens timeless questions like what it is to be young, what it is meant to be wanted, and what it is to find your calling but lose it along the way. And how things that can mean a lot to you, sometimes you can alter those, you know, without noticing it, I guess. So this one I've seen a lot, and I am very interested to get to that one at least this year. A couple of ones I'm going to speed through. Finley Donovan, number 3 by Elle Cosimano. I just went over this in my January wrap-up because I did finish this. It was an ARC by Goodreads, but it did come out the 31st of January. So it is out now, and it is the 3rd installment in the Finley Donovan series. If you want to know more about it, go back to the January wrap-up because I did mention it in there, as well as this one, Prince Harry Spare. Like I said, I tabbed the shit out of it because I loved it. Oh, I still have extra tabs just in case. But this was also in my wrap-up, so if you want to know more about my thoughts on that, please watch the January wrap-up. Another one that I picked up when we were in Lake Placid was Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second installment in the Alex Stern series, and this I found for $10.98 because it was damaged. I don't know if you can see. Has a little bit of wear and tear, but honestly I don't even like the cover, so I will take it off. And this is how I read Ninth House, so I'm gonna leave it just like this. I have like 5 minutes until I have to leave for my hair appointment. But yes, this is the second installment in the Alex Stern series. Basically, getting into more mischief. It's a world full of magic, violence, and all too real monsters. It is like an underworld from the campus, so I am excited to get to that one, but I do think I'm going to reread Ninth House to understand the underworld dynamic a little bit more, because it didn't fully make sense to me when I was reading it the first time. Margot by Wendell Stevenson is the next one. And this is a mid-1950s coming of age in the 60s, a time of war, assassinations, and riots. Her upper class bringing, so she is part of like the WASP society, but it is her struggle to break free while also all of the chaos is happening in the world around her. So honestly, this was a cover buy for me, but when I read the front flap, I was like, ooh, this does sound really good, and I haven't seen a lot of people pick it up, which is sometimes my intent with book hauls, is to find stuff that isn't really talked about. So I might pick this one up sooner than later and give you guys a little bit more insight to that. I also got 9 Stories by J.D. Salinger from the same bookstore. It is in my Lake Placid video if you want to take a look. If you're ever in upstate New York, the Adirondacks, it is the cutest bookstore called Bookstore Plus. Super cozy kid corner, and a lot of good selections, as well as little cards, personalized cards to kind of give you some information on some of their favorite selections. Anyway, 9 Stories is just a collection of stories. I don't know too much about it. I know that it was written after The Catcher in the Rye. It's sort of in the mix between Franny and Zooey, and I did like some of that book, so I figured I would give this one a try. It's been on my list for a while, I just haven't picked it up, and it was staring at me at the bookstore, so I said sure. And the next one is When the Apricots Bloom by Gina Wilkinson. Now this one, I'm not too sure. It says, inspired by her own experiences in Iraq during Saddam Hussein's rule, the evocative, suspenseful debut is told through the eyes of 3 very different women confronting the limits of friendship, forgiveness, and the strength of a mother's love. So that has been on my TBR for a while. It was on Amazon, and that was at the used book sale as well. It was only like 50 cents, and I was like, you know what, that's better than buying it on Amazon, so done. I also got this one at the used book sale, The Only Woman in the Room by Marie Benedict. And this is World War II era as well. This says that they are focused on her beauty. She ends up marrying an Austrian arms dealer. Because of her beauty, she is underestimated. She is in earshot of the Third Reich's plans. She escapes to, I guess, find help. She ends up in Hollywood, becomes a screen star, but then is trying to have people take her seriously to help fight the Nazis. So, interesting concept. I am interested to see how it is, I don't know the one I'm looking for, how it is construed and how it comes across, if it's properly done. So that one is definitely one on my list. One of the next ones is The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Hamill. So windy outside, oh my goodness. This one is about a World War II, a postgraduate who flees Paris because her father is arrested. She finds refuge in a free zone. She begins forging documents for kids so that Jewish children can flee into neutral Switzerland. However, she says it comes with a cost. There is a price for, you know, deleting their history, their old names. Yes, it's for freedom, but what is at stake? And that is a concept I haven't actually thought about when reading about World War II. A lot of people have recommended this book, similar to Nightingale, so I am super excited to get to that one. I'm trying to go fast and it's just not working. The next one is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. And this is also basically brand new. I mean, this is the used book sale. Amazing. But this one is the 1960s coming-of-age story steeped in nostalgia about two friends who are in love and about their relationship, who they are personally. Their relationship does, I guess, take place after one of their friends passes away, so I'm assuming somehow that's tied in, but I think it's more of just like a self-reflection coming-of-age story. And I also have a couple of his books on my shelves that I haven't gotten to, so there's a couple of authors that I really need to like sit down and like power through some of their books because I have so many titles on my shelves. The next one is The Club by Ellery Lloyd. My husband got me this for Christmas, and I did start it, I just haven't gotten to it yet. But this one is a group of socialites and celebrities are a part of this club. They invite you in, but then people start dying, and it says if you are on the list, you're not getting out. And to me that sounded great. It was one of Reese's book club picks, which usually she picks good ones, so that one does sound very interesting. The next one I have is The Ingenue by Rachel Kapolick Dale. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. This one is about a former piano prodigy who returns to Milwaukee after her mother's sudden death. She expects to inherit the family house, but realizes that in her mother's will it is left to a man that she has some sort of disturbing past with. So it's kind of, you know, focuses on her past talents and as well as this relationship. It delves into the bonds of family, limits of talent, and risks of ambition, and the rewards of revenge. And it is dual timeline, so it goes back from her past to present. The next one is Of Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia. And I'm kind of assuming that's her signature. I'm gonna look it up because I got this at the used book sale. So if this is a signed copy for like $1, that's insane. But this is a girl struggling with her past. She is trying to learn about her mother and how her mother immigrated while also dealing with her own addictions. And it just says a kaleidoscope of portrait of betrayals, personal and political, self-inflicted, those done by others, and how they shape the lives of extraordinary women. It is also about the legacy of the memories women carry and the tenacity of women who choose to tell their stories despite people who want to silence them. So I know this one comes highly recommended on Instagram. Definitely looking forward to getting to that. And the next one, second to last, is The Heart and Other Monsters by Rose Anderson. It is a memoir. I did just pick this up from Amazon a couple of days ago. This is a memoir about Rose, whose younger sister Sarah died from an opioid addiction or overdose. And she was 24 years old, addicted to heroin. And so it just kind of goes into, you know, the aftermath, how it affects family, and it just sounds so good. I don't know. I think I might pick this up now. I might bring this with me to my hair appointment because it just sounds a little heartbreaking, but also a little bit informative, and I have been honestly loving memoirs lately, so it's right up my alley. I apologize, the wind is insane and my dog is going crazy. The last and final one is January's book of the month. I have not picked February yet. I am not sponsored, but I did sign up again because they've been having some really good titles and the price is worth it. So I got this huge paperback for $9.99, and it is Age of Vice by Deepti Kapoor, sorry. And if this doesn't sound good, come on. Age of Vice is an epic action-packed story propelled by the seductive wealth, startling corruption, and bloodthirsty violence of the family, loved by some, loathed by others, feared by all. So that just caught my attention. I have seen this all over. It is quite hefty. It just sounds so good. It sounds so good. So those are my 32 books that I have hauled within the last 2-3 months-ish. Let me know if you've read any in the comments. Please like and subscribe my channel. Feel free to share videos if you've liked any. I really appreciate everyone joining in and watching my content. It really does mean a lot to me. And yeah, if you've liked any of these books, please let me know which ones I should get to first. As you know, I really don't follow a TBR. I try to, but they're usually a little bit chaotic and scattered, sort of like my mom brain. So I will take any suggestions as what will catch my attention and keep me interested. So let me know in the comments what you guys are reading this week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.